Hey, good afternoon, Tom. I shared with you that I was going to get with you information on the cup and a little bit about the detail of it. So I'm going to try to be pretty thorough. I'm hoping to keep this time down, but it's going to take a little bit to cover everything that needs to be covered. First of all, Cup 2018 is upon us. That is happening next January. It's the 10th through 17th, if I'm not mistaken. It's always over Martin Luther King Monday. I'm going to go back to the history on this a little bit. We've been doing this for 21 years. Cup 2018 will be year number 22. We started in Lyon, France, and then the Dutch came to the event one year and said, we can do this better. As a matter of fact, we are the heart of fast pitch softball in Europe, and in fact, that is true. The Italians would make claim to that, but the Dutch is actually the ones that have been representing Europe in the Olympic Games. And in fact, some of our players that we will be playing against will be playing in Tokyo in 2020, which is pretty cool for our girls that they're going to be able to know some of the ones that will be going on playing. The Cup today amounts to 5 American teams, and the reason we bring 5 American teams is because we have pools, and every European team wants to play and beat an American team. I would love to have taken only 1 or 2, but they want me to bring 5 simply for that reason. I don't like to, but of course, even though I own the event, there's obviously teams that really love to beat America when they have that chance. So we do give them that opportunity, and actually we do pretty well against them, but they still love to at least be able to say they played us. We go with 1 athlete per position. So if you're injured, you still play. If you've got pneumonia, you play. If we've had to amputate your leg, you still will play. No excuses in this game. We do take 2 pitchers. However, on each team, for obvious reasons, sometimes pitchers they don't show up on Sunday morning sometimes, but that's the case of ball as I've seen it throughout the course of all the years I've been involved in this game. Sometimes pitchers just don't have it all the time. So anyhow, we have a little bit of a safety net having that second pitcher there. The whole adventure starts with arriving on a Thursday. We leave on Wednesday night. It's an overnight flight of real quick 7 hours or so. Flight to Amsterdam. And from that point, that day, it's kind of a chill day, except for in the evening. That's when we go and we do a clinic for the youth there from Belgium, Germany, and the Netherlands. There's about 150 little athletes from age 9 to 12 that we bring in, or that are there actually already, that want to learn from the Americans. And actually, the Olympic team from the Dutch is there as well. I went up to one of the girls from the Dutch team and I said, what do you think of this, teaching these young kids what's going on in the world of fast pitch softball? And she said, Kurt, I was here 15 years ago doing this exact thing, and I so wanted to be like an American. So that's the kind of impression that we leave when we leave and we do this event with our athletes and with their Dutch Olympic or national program. At this point, it's called national team, not Olympic team yet. But anyhow, that's interesting and really fulfilling for our coaches that go with us, and also for our athletes to go and want to work that camp as well. Friday morning, we get up and go to Amsterdam, in which we go see the Anne Frank's home. You can go to a couple museums that are there. Van Gogh and Rembrandt are there. Just to give you a little bit of time in the city, we've got to get the girls back by midday, because they've got to prepare they got to get changed, they got to get fed, and they've got to be on a train headed to opening ceremonies, which is just a bit after supper time. So that being said, we've got a hustle day on Friday, although it's a packed full day. The highlight begins to happen when it comes down to playing ball. We play ball on Friday night. We play ball all day Saturday. We play ball all day Sunday. Sunday, after closing ceremonies, we're on a motor coach headed to Paris. In Paris, we arrive Sunday evening. We are 10 minutes walk from Notre Dame, 10 minutes walk from Napoleon's Palace, which happens to house the Louvre. There's a lot of great places to stay in Paris. You can stay way out by the Eiffel Tower, a great place, or by the Arc de Triomphe. It's also a great place, but we are in the dead center of the city, a really good place for walking. You can walk to get to many, many places, but we're also metro stops just away from major things there as well. So we spend Monday and Tuesday there. Wednesday we're still there, but we're loading in the motor coach headed back to America, and we should be back in our easy seats or at the kitchen table by supper time generally. Cost-wise, everyone's concerned about a couple things. First one I'm going to discuss is cost. This year is the same as last year. The cost is $3,850, $3,850 per person. It doesn't matter whether you're bringing your 88-year-old grandparent or your 8-year-old brother. That is the cost. It doesn't matter. Last year we took a handful of grandpas and grandmothers. We took, of the 5 teams of 10 that we took, we mandate there's a parent per every child that goes. We don't do surrogate parents. We did that twice in a row, and we said the first time we'd never do it again. Somehow we did it the second time. It didn't work out again. It was not an easy, fun picture on their side. So we said we're never going to put a kid in that position ever, ever, ever again. So that will not happen. A surrogate parent managing 2 families worth of kids, that will not happen. So there's got to be a parent per every athlete. Interestingly enough, last year we went with probably 70% mothers and fathers. But that sometimes doesn't happen until later in the game of being aboard. The first installment is due on February 15th. The last one is November 15th. If you're coming aboard a little bit late and want another month to get your funds together, we can start one March 15th. But that would come down to a March 15th start to a November 15th ending for your installments. That would increase installments a bit. As you can imagine, easy figuring, $38.50 is $385 per month, going on for 10 months installments, and that will end in November. A couple people ask, what happens if we have an injury in October? We encourage insurance. So if you don't buy insurance, obviously it's all on you. Just like if you wouldn't buy insurance on a house and your house burnt down, the house rebuild is on your cost. The same goes this way. If something happens and you can't go, the cost will be back on you. If you do buy insurance, you can buy it from AAA. We give you a couple suggestions online where you can buy travel insurance, but it would cover a portion of your cost of your trip. So that's why we suggest insurance. I will say this, that 80% of our people do not buy it. But that being said, it's just like insurance. It is a risk. And if you're willing to take the risk, you probably will win, but there's a chance that something may happen. But I can share with you, since the year 2000, we've had 6 ACL tears. 5 of them did not have insurance. 1 of them did. All of them went because they value the trip. That is a softball trip. It's a history trip. It's a culture trip. It's a cuisine trip. It's all inclusive of, softball opened the door, but it opened the door to many, many other things, which makes this trip as valuable as it is. A way to defer this, and everyone's concerned with, how do we defer this? Can we get the price down some? And the way we have done this for a long, long time, since about the year 2000, we started compiling significant fundraising strategies that really, really work. And this is across many of the locations that we come from. This past year, we had athletes from 11 states, and these work regardless of where you are from. You have to use these, do these independently, but we've got a pack of information that really, really is quite good. And one of them, I can remember 2 of them actually. I can remember if you invest 90 days for 4 hours a week, you can earn about $4,000 in that particular point in time. So if you take a peek at that and know that you can get these things paid for, it's really a good day. Last year, and actually the last 2 or 3 years, we've had more than 90% of our athletes and parents go with no family funds invested, simply because they've taken advantage of some of the fundraiser strategies that we use. There's going to be 6 of them that we have in a package. I'm going to be sending those to you guys. Of these 6, there's going to be 2 or 3 that you can't do, won't do, or somehow doesn't fit what you'd like to do, but there's going to be a couple that you can do. And I can assure you that there's money to be had in these fundraisers, and it's not like panhandling. They're really, really clever. And as a matter of fact, 2 of the great programs in the Midwest and kind of this East Coast a little bit use one of our programs to fund their entire team's budget. So a couple of them are super, super good. So you take a peek at them. Last thought on here, Cup 2018, we are, as I shared earlier, we're amping up another team. So we need, obviously, athletes. And the next step happens to be you need to get 7 pieces of information to me. These 7 pieces I will also forward to you guys on the same email, and you guys can take a peek at that. The 7 pieces of information have nothing to do with a Visa card and all to do with information. And on that particular pack of information, we'll have the fundraising strategies as well. So those 2 things we'll have on an email. Maybe Tom will put that together for you guys so that you can take a look at not only this video clip, but also what's coming up next. If you do have any questions, although I'm a pretty busy guy, and I'm sure every one of you guys are out there are also quite busy, I'm more than free to answer an email or a text, or if you Facebook message me, or if you want to give me a ring, you can do that as well. We've been doing this for a lot of years, and have had a lot of athletes go through this successfully. We've had athletes are currently playing pro ball in this. We have athletes that have won College World Series before in this. So we've had the whole gamut of a great Division III player, which we love them. to some pretty significant Division I players. We love them too, but our biggest criteria happens to be the number one criteria happens to be we want a great girl. Normally, with great girls, you have great parents, and that's how we start building our teams. And when you do that, not only do you have some fun winning, but you have some fun outside the lines, and that's what our goal is to have a great time. Someone's going to lose in this event, and when we lose, we don't want to be pouters. We want to be proud to represent who we are and where we're from, and be American. Obviously, that's something that's important to us because they look at us and they say, "Oh my gosh, I love America because of how they act," and their impression upon our country happens to be when they look at us. Believe it or not. And I'll give you a quick piece of information, then I'll leave you. We had a girl one time go over there, and she didn't do good in the game. She threw a bat, and she pouted. I was sitting in the stands watching with another Dutch girl, and she said, "Oh my gosh, that's exactly what I think of America. When they don't get their way, they pout." And I was like, whoa, I couldn't believe that. But I could believe actually that, your first impression of anyone is the impression that you get of them and where they're from. So that impression that you guys leave with these people are the impression that they will have upon our country, believe it or not only you, but our group, but the country too. That's why we start off with, we need great girls, and we need a great parent set, and of course you guys have got to be able to play the game. Anyhow, if you have any questions, let me know. My email address should be on here somewhere, but by and large, we're looking to fill that team up, and would love to reach out to the East Coast a little bit and see if there's some help out there. Thanks a bunch.